Hello, everyone.
What is
Good
up?
morning. Happy Friday. Well, for you guys, we've still got a whole con to do. Happy day 5 of Sideshow Con, which, it's day 5, which means we have a whole new booth layout for you. We've got some old, we've got some new, we've got some things that you guys are really gonna wanna see. We are really excited to be here. And again, for some of the exclusives that we have as well, side.show/con, you can register right now. Enough vamping, I'm ready.
Listen, I'm done. We don't need to hear about from us anymore.
No.
We don't need to hear from us anymore. No one cares about us. They wanna know what's going on in the booth.
It's very true.
So let's kick it over to Amy and Vanessa, and let's see what's going on in the booth.
Let's check it out.
All right, good morning, everybody. As Paul and Alex mentioned, it is day 5. This is a new booth configuration. We've got some returning fan favorites and a ton of new stuff from Marvel. We've got video game horror pieces. You guys are going to want to see everything we've got going on today. I am joined here by my fantastic co-host, Vanessa Guerrero.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm always so thrilled to do these. It feels like I get the inside of the Wonka tour part without the turning blue and like getting sucked into a chocolate tube elements of it.
All those bits. Well, I was excited when we saw the layout today for horror things, because I remember the last time we got to host a tour together, you are a horror aficionado, but today we are starting off with Marvel, and we're beginning in the realm of the mutants. So let's jump on over here. We're going to start with some Iron Studios MiniCo pieces. Now, how cute are these guys?
You heard the sounds that I made when I first walked into the booth. These were the first things I actually ran to the second I came in. They have so much personality to them, and like their color schemes hit all of that nostalgia points for me of like the 90s X-Men, especially Rogue's hair.
Oh, totally. And I love Storm's white costume is one of my favorites. We're going to see that a couple times in the booth today, but just all of the personality in these pieces. Iron Studios does such a great job with these MiniCo, capturing kind of the most iconic bits of a character with a lot of personality packed into a smaller scale, very shelf, I guess, space-saving and affordable collectible as well. These pieces are new reveals. We are so excited to show you guys these. I want to start with my personal favorite in this bunch, Beast.
Yes.
Because that's what I looked like last night prepping for this booth layout. Yeah. Studying hard. They all have their vibrant color schemes, and each of them has a little something going on with an accessory in their hand or the way that they're pointing or gesturing that really captures their classic mutant powers.
Yeah, I love that you pointed out that the tiny details really add to the whole of it, of these things that we're familiar with, because like from his coffee cup to his little glasses, like those are just the things that I think of whenever I think of Beast, and it's so immediately prominent. And also maybe the character that I relate to the most is somebody that also has blue hairballs all over their house. So,
well, and these all have really cute proximity bases. You guys can see as we're going around here, there are Sentinel detritus and rubble on their bases. Love the swagger of Gambit, who looks like the only one who's not preparing to get into action. He's like, yeah, I'll be there when I'm ready.
He's a lot more leisurely about it.
Don't worry, mon cher. I'm gonna be useful in battle. He always is. But you guys can see those Sentinel pieces, and Jean Grey herself has the Sentinel head. She also has a cute little firebird in her hand, the little phoenix going on there. And we see Wolverine's claws have already slashed through the Sentinel's head there. He's got those claws popped, ready to go. Just so cute. And as Alex was remarking before the show, these do really evoke the feel of the X-Men babies.
Yeah.
Or I'm also thinking there was a Scotty Young A-Babies versus X-Babies.
Yes, it feels very Scotty Young in that element of it.
Yes, and Iron Studios has also created Avengers MiniCo pieces, so these are a great addition to any lineup. I love Storm's got a tiny rain cloud going on there, and Psylocke's got a little origami crane in her hand that is the same color as her psionic powers. So
I love her pose too.
Yeah, just they're in different phases of battle. She's a little bit more laid back and relaxed as well, while others are leaping into action. And of course, Cyclops is ready to lead the team into battle. We've got blue team, red team, classic 90s looks, and he is firing up one of his concussive blasts. Now, these are so cute. They will be sold separately, but they look great as a collection together. So you're going to want to check out sideshow.com/coming soon. I'm sure they've each also got individual short links that the team has been sharing on the feed here, but you guys are going to want to RSVP to be notified when those go up for pre-order, because they are so cute. Now, staying in the realm of those kind of classic costumes, leaping into battle,
Yep.
Sentinel destruction. We've got the Wolverine premium format figure
Wow.
by Sideshow. Now this is in stock on our website, so you can add him to your collection. He's a great starter piece for an X-Men collection, great addition to any other X-Men collection. Look at the textures that are going on.
Yeah, that's the
throughout
first
this
thing that my
piece.
eye was drawn to. The texture on his costuming, where like it took me a second to realize this is sculpted, right? This isn't
Yes,
fabric.
this is fully sculpted.
It didn't initially. I was just like, that has to be just a really tight costume. Nope, just impeccable.
And he's even got texture on his arms where the painting also accentuates his arm hair. You know,
Yeah.
Wolverine's a stout,
He's a fuzzy boy.
fuzzy guy, very angry guy too. He's got his claws popped and ready to go. And I love the places in which you can see all of the detail on the base of where he's specifically slashed through, and all of those little 3 claw marks throughout the Sentinel hand base.
Yeah, and on that detail, like the veins with the slight blue showing through the skin, but it's just ever so slight, the way you'd see it through somebody like straining is such a cool detail. It makes it feel so kinetic, like it's in the middle of motion.
Yes, he is absolutely in the midst of battle. He's in his berserker fury. And this piece does also look really great alongside other members of Sideshow's X-Men collection, because there are a number of people fighting on Sentinels, and there's also another half of the collection that is fighting in Xavier's mansion, so you can kind of reassemble different scenes. Maybe the Sentinels are just outside of the mansion, and it was a really bad time for everybody to completely fight. Juggernaut has burst through the wall, but of course Wolverine is such an iconic character and kind of the centerpiece starter of every X-Men collection. Now,
Which is why I like the Sentinel pieces so much. It makes it feel like it just popped out of something.
yeah, just so much fun, and there's a lot of great metal distress textures you can get with that. I love those little hints of silver throughout the base where the metal has been kind of rended apart by his claws. And speaking of guys with claws, we've got Gambit over here and another Wolverine. You guys might not have seen this. This is their astonishing variant for the Wolverine 6th scale figure. So you guys are seeing him with one of his pairs of swap out arms. He does have articulated arms, and then he does have arms that are kind of already pre-posed in that
that's so
hyperflex.
cool.
Really get the muscle sculpt in there, so
Yeah.
you guys don't have to worry about bending and flexing the arm. It's a seamless piece that doesn't articulate there, but there is a swap out pair for articulation and additional posing.
I love that, because depending on what other characters that I currently have on my shelf and what pose they're in, or you know, if I want them to feel like they're mid-battle, or maybe just a bit more display, I love having multiple arms for that, because then my collection grows with my characters.
Yes, and it's always great because you can have individual poses that really highlight the character's best attributes, but when you have multiple characters, you can really pose them in dialogue with one another. Either they're all leaping into battle together, or you've got head-to-head. There's a Magneto in this collection as well, so you can have him squaring off. And as we said, this is the astonishing variant, so he does have the alternate stripes on his costume. He's got the shorter cowl in consistency with that kind of astonishing X-Men run. There's also an astonishing X-Men version of Cyclops with that kind of fully sleek blue, almost fully cowled look. Very different, very modern, so you can pair him with this Wolverine. But this is a new reveal. It will be coming soon, so you can go to sideshow.com/coming soon, or probably his very own, he's got side.show/Con Wolfie. Con Wolfie. And then up front,
We meet again.
we meet again. This is the Gambit Deluxe 6th scale figure. You guys are seeing one of multiple head sculpts. He has a long-haired portrait and then this short-haired portrait. I love when the short hair is like, he's got the cowl and it's sticking
when
straight
it's
up.
cropped to that.
Yes, I mean, I love every version of Gambit, but this guy does have a tailored fabric costume. So he does have that beautiful trench coat. There's a lot of stitching going on throughout, even little kind of stitches where the buttons would go. You see the lining inside the collar, which you can have popped up, and then he does have that fabric undersuit with the black and the magenta beneath his sculpted silver armor.
I love the double buckles on him. It adds that like extra bit of flair that makes that trench coat more than a trench coat and makes it Gambit's trench coat. But what I especially love about this figure are the cards as they move away from him, how in motion they are, and that great pop of color. I've had my heart set on this figure for like a year now.
Well, he is still available for pre-order on our website, and as we're seeing, he's got even a translucent energy hand, so he is charging those cards as he throws them. The figure also does come with a couple of additional cards for holding, one with a kinetic flame effect, and then of course he's got his bow staff. This is an articulated figure again, so you can really pose him in a lot of fun action, or you can have him being more laid back and suave as he is. All right, so now we're going to jump from mutants to symbiotes for a hot
Very
second.
exciting.
You guys got to see these pieces earlier in the week. I actually didn't get to do a booth tour with Venom. He showed up in the booth after on Tuesday when Paul and Guy did the All Request tour. But this is a lot of fun. So this is a brand new Venom premium format figure. This is the prototype pending licensor approval. There is so much going on this piece, not only with Venom, but with the base. Now on the base, I can see it on my side. We've got the Oscorp Industries Laboratory. There's actually like a kind of a manhole cover here.
Yeah, I noticed that.
With the DNA symbol on it. And we've even got the Goblin Glider, just in case you forgot who owned Oscorp.
Yep.
We've got Norman's Goblin Glider destroyed in the kind of almost radioactive looking muck that we've got going on beneath Oscorp. Somebody should talk to them about their chemical dumping practices. But we've got Venom now also on the prowl. This is a very hunter-like Venom. I mean, we often see him squaring off against Spider-Man, but in his hand, he does have a fully sculpted version of Peter Parker's.
I just saw that. It took me a second.
Mask. It's a nice pop of red in the piece.
There's so much detail in the back that I was like in awe of that it took me a second to actually see the Spider-Man mask, because I was like fawning over the rebar and how it like looks like it's like ripping off with his foot as he's going. And then I looked up and was like, oh hey, all right, we have more story.
Yeah, and so he very well could have been on Peter Parker, maybe on the run now, missing a mask, going down into the sewers. Venom is on the prowl. He's got his tongue and his teeth ready to go. I love the lantern kind of jaws of the symbiotes, and we'll also see that when we get to Carnage. But this is fully sculpted. And there's just a lot of the kind of movement of the symbiote throughout as well. We see the natural musculature, but we also see those places where it's like, that's a vein, but that's also a tendril of symbiote, and he feels like he's in motion. It's just a big walking mass of this alien substance.
Yeah, I think anybody that is a Venom fan knows that the symbiote and the way it moves kind of has its own personality now. We all expect it to look a certain type of way in games and movies. We know how that symbiote moves now, and it feels like that here. The way it comes off in the different directions, and because it feels like it has a mind of its own.
Yeah,
it does here too.
Completely, and there's so many great, the movement of how different pieces are lashing or almost looking exploratory, like, okay, where is Peter Parker? We're going to find him. Yeah, it's been a great year for Venom fans recently.
Yeah, it has.
With, I mean, movies and in games and such, and then having Donny Cates' take on the character in the comics, which we've covered on the Comics Hall before, and then on the heels of Venom having his own big event, we've got Carnage showing up. Carnage is going to get his turn in the films. Carnage is having a Marvel event right now called Extreme Carnage. So it is his moment. But whether or not that's a good thing for everybody else remains to be seen, because of course this is crazy Cletus Cassidy erupting from his cell in the Ravencroft Institute. So we've got the destroyed kind of bars of his prison cell here. You guys can also see the detritus and the rebar elements sculpted here. And then, as we pointed out on the previous tour, but just if you're joining us here, his cell number, 361, is a reference to his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, I love those thoughtful details to lifelong fans of something, and especially when it's just all encompassed here together, because like I have loved the character for a very long time. One of my fondest memories are playing the early Spider-Man games and getting to those like chased by Carnage stages.
Nice. Not the pizza delivery stages?
Pizza delivery, balloons, and pigeons. They're just like flashbacks.
Oh my God. Yeah, the pigeons for me with the PlayStation 4 game. Oh my goodness. But yeah, this so much fun. He is a lot more life than Venom, or the Venom that we are seeing here. So he does have a bit more of that wily aspect to him. Of course, we also see tons of the symbiote here curling off of the base and off of him. This will be the first time you guys are getting to see the full 360 on Carnage here. But you see those symbiote tendrils coming off of his back, forming kind of dagger tips. And then, of course, we've got the massive scythe arm. And I think the thing that frightens me most about this character is how with Venom, he's kind of almost one cohesive color. We've got the white aspects to him. But Carnage, with the red underneath the black, especially emphasized here by the kind of more matte paint, Carnage looks like a flayed body.
Yes.
Like it's more sinew and muscle going on.
More of those pieces that make him almost look like raw.
Yeah. Well, He is absolutely insane, and he looks like he's going to have a good time. He looks very happy. You can never quite tell with those symbiote smiles, but he's here to have a good time. He's out of prison and ready to rock and roll. Now, we're going to hop back into the world of mutants for just a moment for a piece making her convention debut. This is the first time you guys are getting to see her in person. This is the goddess herself. We've got the Storm premium format figure. A long-awaited piece, first teased at one of our 12 Days of Sideshow events. That's kind of where we give people a preview for what's coming up in the year. But now she is here. She's available for pre-order. And this is an amazing addition to the X-Men collection by Sideshow.
You know, we were just saying in reference to that Wolverine one about things that are in kinetic motion, and she is upward. She is in flight. Everything about the way that she is posed, from her feet to her cape to this like rush of just brick and the sweeps of blue underneath her, and her hair, everything about her feels like you just caught her mid-flight, and it's astounding.
Yeah, now you guys are seeing her on a riser, so if she looks a little tall next to me, she is on a riser, but she is 23 inches tall, so still a sizable quarter scale representation of Storm. And like you said, I really love the swirl of the base. It kind of informs the direction of, I mean, her hair matches that flow, but it also almost feels like she is in the eye of her own Storm.
Yes.
Like she's calm, she's in control. And we've got that amazing white costume with a kind of pearlescent paint job to it. I know some fans, with comic book coloration, I mean, there's a lot of people with Venom where his highlights are blue, but is Venom blue? And her highlights and lowlights are silver sometimes in the costume. So they've really done a nice job of mixing the white or silver based on kind of the way that she catches the light here. And she does have that mixed media cape, so you guys see that really cool kind of winged cape. It does have wire for posing in the gold hem, so you can really get some cool dramatic motion. And as we've learned throughout the week with our interviews with Cut and Sew and Esther Scandunas, the way in which it's wired and the way in which the movement of the piece is going, that really helps inform the drama and the shape of the capes. And you can really tailor that to your specifications.
Yeah, this really feels like panel come to life.
Yeah.
Everything about her feels like just watching her mid-motion in comic, and she's right here in front of me now.
She's just so regal. I mean, just the look on her face, because we've seen Wolverine and his snarling face, and we've seen Venom and Carnage with their teeth, but she is absolutely just calm and collected.
Yeah.
Just a really, really beautiful
Just
representation.
royalty.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you guys are seeing her currently on one of our bases sourced by Pedestal Source, one of these display podia. Now, we've been running a limited time deal all week long, and we're going to remind you of that. You can take 10% off of a purchase from Pedestal Source by going to side.show/Pedestal Source and using the code SideshowCon 2021. Now, Vanessa, you got the dial there. You're going to show people that kind of color gradient.
So immediate.
You can cycle right through that color gradient. You guys can see how the colors, especially on Storm, reflect off of that iridescence in her costume. There's also a brightness shader, so you can change how intense the lights are. And there's a warm and cool color dial as well. Yeah, full lights or just a hint of accent going on there.
There's so many features on this remote.
Yeah,
I love this.
The lights are kind of, I believe, a little bit adjustable for the degree to which they tilt on the piece.
Yeah, you can kind of
now
move these.
If this inspires you, if you guys are looking at all the pieces that we have featured here at Sideshow Con and thinking that you want to bring one of these home, maybe you have Storm on pre-order and you're thinking about how the lights catch the kind of colors in her base and reflect off of her suit, and you're interested, again, you can go to side.show/Pedestal Source, use the code SideshowCon 2021 for 10% off a new purchase. And that is a limited time deal for Sideshow Con, so don't forget. We'll have a couple more of these featured throughout the show. You guys can see how those colors really affect different pieces uniquely. But for now, we're going to depart from the goddess and go to some other characters who have probably the most immense and most fabulous capes we have on display today. No disrespect to Storm, but we are here with the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, two masters of magic here. Now, both of these pieces are on pre-order right now, but I just want you guys to see the kind of wingspan on these capes. These are almost 2 feet wide each. I know that Doctor Strange's at its full length is 24 inches, and that is the Cloak of Levitation. So let's start with Doctor Strange. Speaking of bases that have fun swirls, he is like almost erupting from a different dimension, maybe the dark dimension.
Yeah, it looks like he just popped here.
Yeah, and he's wasting no time. He's already casting another spell because as the Sorcerer Supreme, he's got to deal with the magic in all the different realms, all the different people in different dimensions, trying to cause some chaos. So while his cape is tailored, and you guys can see he also has the fabric collar up top with that really just beautiful peak, the rest of his costume is fully sculpted.
I didn't initially read that, and it took me a second. I love that color because it really frames up his face, but I also really love the yellow swoops of his belt as he like pops out of that dimension, and it gives him this like he just came in and the wind's blowing back on him effect. And the colors of that dimensional swoop as well are very, very interesting.
Yeah, because they get really bright towards the center. Really nice because there are yellows in the piece with his gloves and that sash you mentioned, but then we get some of the cool kind of dark mystic purples that do evoke the idea of Dormammu, his foe, or wherever he is arriving from. Just different colors that add to the mysticism of this piece, because then we have that bright pop of green in the spell casting hand. And just, it's so much fun, his kind of classic style costume. And of course he has the Eye of Agamotto in his chest kind of as the cloak clasp. It's just a really great piece. Oftentimes we see Stephen Strange, he's arrogant sometimes, a little deservedly so, but he does learn his lesson and he takes his job extremely seriously.
What I really love about that green pop of color, that like spell cast hand as well, is that it captures this like happy medium in between like these tight circles that feel like a spell, but it feels organic too. It's not so rigid that it feels like a spell being in the middle of being casted.
Yeah, and it's just a really, really fun piece, and the artists did a great job sculpting the, for lack of a better word, magic hands, because we have very expressive and evocative magic users in the Marvel Universe, including Miss Scarlet Witch herself as well, and you guys will see this throughout their live action appearances and these sculpted comic book renditions of the characters. They've got very, very specific ways in which they move their hands, and also any tabletop gamers will know there's always there's a somatic component. There's the verbal material and the somatic component to spell casting, so you have to really kind of make the gesture, make the movement, and usher the magic into being. Now, this piece is 29 inches tall. Oh, look, you guys can see she's on our daily banner too. That's our theme for the day. There's your close-up Wanda. And this is also a mixed media piece. As I mentioned, she has the tailored fabric cape. Now, hers is very interesting because I'll see if we can get some on the backside. You guys can see she has the kind of sleek inner red lining. On the back side, she's got a bit of a crushed velvet texture.
Oh, I love that. It's
outside.
So plush looking.
Yeah, and it gives a darkness to the red as well. It has a very different texture and tactile feel to it. So we'll see that. You guys can see the beautiful posing. I believe Tim Hansen came in and doctored up that cape for us. So that is something that you guys can do in your collection with the wired capes. And then actually, I'm going to spin her back around very gently. Check out that hair.
Yeah, that hair
that amazing
with
hair.
her cape just really brings her to life.
Yeah, the way it flows with her magic, and now we know her magic is a little bit more chaotic. So unlike the storm that that storm was creating, the kind of nice, neat swirl, this is hair going everywhere, magic going everywhere, and you guys can see within her chaos magic, she is tearing apart Ultron, a rival of hers, with a nice pop of silver, I think, that adds to the pink and red tones throughout her costume. And this collar part here that wraps around her neck is actually sculpted. It does have the flocked texture to it to emulate the cape, but that is not that itself is not fabric. It helps
sculpted in.
Yeah, it helps key in the fabric cape.
That's so cool. And you brought it up earlier, but we saw it a little bit when we saw the back of her head as well. The poses of her hands are so intuitively her, they're so Wanda, that like it just feels so familiar.
And that I just love that really kind of almost cotton candy pink of her magic. She's got so many different pinks and reds and warm tones going on throughout this piece. Love that classic sculpted kind of mantle on her face as well. But the artist did such a great job distinguishing what is the magic and what is her costume. But innately, she is the magic and she is the Scarlet Witch. So it's just, it all works so cohesively.
It's just an extension of her.
Yes, it is just an extension of her. Now we're going to go a little bit bigger on the cosmic scale here.
Wow.
With the Galactus Maquette. Now this is, of course, Galen of Ta. This is the Eater of Worlds, the hunger that does not cease. And this is him standing on a base that is actually a destroyed cityscape. So if you want to take the kind of scale idea and macro it out, it's not just one little scene. This is an entire city.
You could see the little building windows
Melted
and the little
beneath his
structures.
feet. Yeah, you've got what used to be identifiable buildings in this, but now we've got this nice kind of mass of like kind of a roiling lava, and you guys see the power cosmic in his hands, almost evocative of that Kirby crackle.
Yes.
With the different kind of explosive shapes in his hands.
And you have the pearlescent paint here too, which I really love because it captures light. Like you can get it from this base as well. It captures light in such a way that really like adds to kind of like what we saw with Storm, like this otherworldliness to it.
Yes. And you guys are seeing also the orange light from the pedestal source base once again. The way that captures, I really like it. It gives a kind of heat to the lava base that we are seeing. So that's another way that external light can help to emphasize a piece. You guys are seeing now the clear light, almost all like all city spotlights. Like I feel like that would be he's touched down and the police are spotlighting him. They're like, what is this thing that everyone can see from the city skyline? And now he is fully sculpted. This is a polystone piece, and you guys see he's got the really intricate armor, and as Vanessa mentioned, he's got those metallic hues. He's got the blue, he's got the purple, and then the silver accents that really just kind of bring home the futuristic technology of this incomprehensible being.
Yeah, and it makes the parts that aren't pearlescent, like these oranges, stand out more as something coming from him. God, that spine, that's so cool.
I know, you need good lumbar support when you are that tall.
Yeah, the weight of the entire galaxy on your back as you're crushing it you need that support.
And that's why he also has to sometimes outsource some of his help. And then I just want to bring attention, of course, to that amazing portrait with the extremely detailed and iconic helmet shape. I mean, it is such classic cosmic Marvel to have almost an excessively detailed mechanism. We got to see some of those fun kind of celestial elements in the MCU recently, but just those really crazy mechanisms. And then he does have kind of the painting has light to it in the eyes, kind of surrounding, catches like silver on the helmet, almost as if his eyes are glowing with the power cosmic.
That's such a thoughtful detail.
Yeah, now this is available for pre-order on our website. You can check that out right now. And if it's still available, which I believe it is, there's a really cool Galactus and the Silver Surfer art print by the artist Necro that really manages, it's a Baroque style piece, but really kind of captures that headpiece if you're a fan of the Galactus helmet as well. Now we're going to go over here really quickly to a really cool trio of fan favorite. We've got a patriotic character, we've got just really cool action pieces going on here. So let's start, of course, with Captain America, who's front and center. Now this is a classic cap, and it has been a while since Sideshow has had the opportunity to do a classic cap, and so we really wanted to bring him back to the Allied wartime efforts. He is charging into battle over the ruins of a Hydra tank. Of course, you guys can see the symbols and those little tiny pops of color. Of course, he's being shot at. He's in an active battle scene.
Those little elements I really, really love. The little little bullet fire moments.
They're so sharp. They're semi-translucent, so they can also kind of catch the light. They have a little bit of a clearness to them, as if they're about to fade away in any moment, but they are captured here. And Cap's shield itself does have some scorch marks on it from previous bullet fire, so you can see that going on. And then one of my favorite details, of course, of classic Captain America, those scales on his torso.
I love those scales. I love those scales, and it was also kind of captured by the seams of the rest of his uniform, where it has another one of those moments where it looks like a uniform, but it's sculpted. You have those little wrinkles at those points of articulation that make it look so much like the texture of his uniform that you'd expect it to be in a real life setting.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that the artists take into consideration, because if these were just flat garments on a statue, it'd look vacuum sealed, it'd look very strange, but this has life and motion to it. And I think in that portrait, you get the excessively stitched kind of look. You see where the fabric puckers, because this wasn't his tactical helmet. This was a fabric cowl version of his costume, a much more homegrown American hero costume. And then, of course, we see he's got some of the weathering on his boots. He is tromping through the mud actively and just really evoking the charging symbol of hope and relentless going into battle with the shield. He's here to protect. But he's also not afraid to break some noses if it means taking out the bad guy. So that is a brand new prototype reveal for this show. We're very excited to have this here. You can go to his short link, which is side.show/concappf to RSVP to be notified when he goes up for pre-order. Just a really great classic Captain America if you're looking for a kind of return to form in your collection. Now, up next, we do have another classic version of a character who has some modern reinterpretations, but this is the comic book inspired version of Taskmaster, Tony Masters, the photographic memory who can take down any Avenger with their own weapons after watching enough of their moves, just perfectly recreate their signature skills.
Now, I really love the pointed sword, and he's looking right down at who he's pointing it at, because earlier when I was standing there, I didn't realize that, and I looked over and it looked like it was pointing right at me, which was very fun. It's right down to like the angle that he's looking down. You feel like you're in his sights.
Yes, and that is another aspect to posing or placing your pieces on a shelf. Always be careful of those extra pointy bits, because it is pretty threatening. Just staring down the barrel of his sword, I guess the blade of his sword, really. But cameraman Sam's going to get that for us. Really good look. We've got the classic skull portrait from the comics as well. There's an exclusive edition that comes with a modern armored style portrait that captures the skull look, but it is more of a tactical version of the mask. And then we do have a fully sculpted costume apart from the mixed media cape and hood. And the cape and hood, speaking of pieces that are different on the interior and exterior, we've got that really nice, it's a very warm red, almost orangey red on the interior of the cape. And then the exterior, you guys can see it a little better on the hood as well. A kind of faux leather, almost like a textured white that has some distress to it to really capture, again, that classic comic book appearance.
I really love that faux leather. I didn't notice it because I saw the inside orange first, and that faux leather really adds this like regalness to the way that he holds himself that I love.
But it's also, I love the distress details, kind of the dirt we can see, especially in the gloves. These are sculpted, by the way, but the distress, because he is also, again, in active battle constantly, and now he is equipped with his kind of Avengers busting kit. We do have a pistol at the hip, he's got the sword, he's got a bow, he's got a shield, and a full quiver as well. So it's no secret that he's studied the Avengers. He knows what to do and how to take them out expertly. And then his base, while it seems rather simple, it's kind of a reference to the training facility that he runs, because he does hire out his services to be like, hey, henchmen who have to fight Captain America on the routine and you keep getting beat by the shield, I will teach you how Captain America fights with his shield so you can avoid that next time. So it's kind of a fun reference to his earlier and first appearances in the comics. And again, that cape is posable. You guys can pre-order him on our website right now. And I know that they've got our short link available for us. I think that is side.show/con Taskmaster. All right, and then we've got another new prototype reveal. Look at the gloss on this one. This is the Black Widow premium format figure, a brand new piece. It goes really nicely with the Captain America piece because she, while slightly more modernized, is also taking out a Hydra base. You guys can see that she's actually kind of sliding down the wall, maybe making a quick getaway, and you guys can see that there is enemy fire. So she's been spotted. You know, eventually all good spies, no matter how expert they are at sneaking around, the exit's usually the roughest part. She's probably got what she needs, but she's making a quick exit now. This is something fun that we don't often see on Black Widow pieces. We've got her Widow stingers in action. Again, with those nice pops of semi-translucent color, we've got the blue of her electro, kind of like an electric blast on the stingers coming from her wrists. So we've got the nice gold pop of the bracelets. Everybody loves those, but we get to see them in action here. And her costume is fully sculpted, as I mentioned. There's a lot of great textures and lines. You guys
really got that latex look.
Yeah, it does, but it also has, it's more than one, it's not just one piece. It's not just a solid cat suit. You guys see there is piping and detail to it, but the folds in the costume around her joints really pick up light exceptionally well.
Yeah, it does.
And kind of make her feel, again, like she's in super kinetic motion. We've got the classic red-headed, long-haired portrait as well. And she is all business, all action, super intense face. I mean, as we were talking with Taskmaster, really, really putting the focus into whoever she's fighting as she slides down the Hydra base there. All right. Well, she is a new reveal, so she's not yet up for pre-order, but we're going to hop over to someone who you can add to your collection. He was a little bit busy while we were showing you guys Galactus, but now he's back. And I hope that because he's here, that doesn't mean that Galactus intends to eat this convention, because we still have a couple more days left to go. So
there's still some more stuff I want to see.
You know, but we'll make our way around. So this is the Silver Surfer Maquette. He stands just over 25 inches tall. Just a beautiful, regal piece. We got to debut this last year at Sideshow Con, but he is returned here now, and I believe he is in stock on our website. If not, it's pre-ordering and it will be here very soon, but I know that some people have him in their collection already. With the large edition size, more are coming. And again, he catches light very interestingly because of his beautiful silver paint job.
Yeah, I'm so in love with this base because I love that he's on his surfboard.
Yeah, and check the way that it is emerging. You don't have a full surfboard on the back. You guys can see that with the kind of cosmic swirl going on.
Yeah, and like I don't know if it's catching on camera, but there's so much color to this base because it's not just black, because you have blues and purples in there, and then little speckles of stars in the galaxy.
Yeah.
It feels like liquid galaxy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. And maybe we can catch it a little bit here if I point it out and you just believe your hardest. And if you can't see it here, you can see it on the webpage at side.show/consilver. We've got purple down here.
Yeah.
There's bronze at his ankle right there, kind of right here. There's like a bronze. So you're not just seeing the lights reflecting up here. This does have color. It is not a solid black piece.
Yeah, you got these little pops of stars and planets.
And sculptor Daniel Bell did such an amazing job with the physique of this character. I mean, again, one of those ones who's colored very interestingly in the comics because we do see the silver or the hard black kind of places where he does have a shine to him. But this whole figure he looks like an award that I would like to win someday.
He does.
So beautiful. And then the natural kind of shadows around his eyes create that almost black outlined look that he did have in the classic comics as well. Just really, really giving you that portrait of Norrin Radd as he does his solemn duty. I mean, it's not an easy task. He wields the power cosmic, but to find worlds that Galactus has to destroy and eat is not an easy one. Now, you guys are also seeing on this podium here, we do have the exclusive edition accessory, which includes an entire second Herald of Galactus.
I know.
We've got Frankie Ray as Nova. Do we have her currently lit up?
I think so.
Is it possible to dim the studio light so we can see if she does have a light up feature in her fiery hair, which is super cool. Really nice statement piece in your collection. Don't know if she's a little hard to see with the underlighting here, but you got to trust us on that one. You can see it on our website. And then she's got the beautiful gold to her as well, and a similar kind of galaxy swirl base that does also have unique colors to it.
And I love that her fingertips extend past it.
Yes. So if we can, I'm going to gently move her. You guys can see she is, she's kind of, it almost gives the sense that she's like swimming through the galaxy. She's emerged alongside Norrin, and they are together traveling and traversing the starways for Galactus. So if you have Galactus, if you're going to bring Galactus home, you're definitely going to want to add some of his heralds. And we do have a couple of Heralds of Galactus art prints as well. So as I mentioned, we've got that piece by Necro with the Silver Surfer kind of in the chest of Galactus kind of flying forward. But we do have one by John Keaveney that features both Frankie Ray and the Silver Surfer, and it was inspired by all three of these pieces while Galactus is consuming a world in the background. So that's a really fun piece to check those out at the art print website. We will be in the art gallery later today to show you some other prints, but again, just always thinking of the ways that you can pair these pieces in your collection. Now, we're going to take it over in terms of power. he's unmatched,
Yeah.
maybe on Earth, except for when he did take over the entire Marvel Universe and he was God Emperor Doom. We've got the Doctor Doom Maquette. I love that God Emperor Doom storyline from the modern Secret Wars.
He's essentially already won.
He is. He's a distinguished man. He's got a PhD. This is Victor Von Doom himself. This is Sideshow's new Doctor Doom Maquette.
Wow.
This guy is massive. So you guys can see from the top of his head to the bottom of the base, he is 27 inches tall. But then we've got this Latvian pride banner. Like, I feel like it's just, we're at a Doom rally, or
yes. Someone is carrying this behind him.
yes, and so this is an optional piece you can put into the base and have displayed. That makes him 30 inches tall, or 33 inches tall, I believe. Yeah, 33. So this is a massive piece. So you can display either way. You have that kind of consideration for size. But if this is a centerpiece, if he's sitting maybe on a podium like the one we have from Pedestal Source, and you want that full towering glory, I personally, I'm 5'9". I've mentioned this several times this week. You guys can see how tall he is next to me, and then that banner just adds those extra inches. Now, this is a mixed media piece. He does have an immense fabric cape. Speaking of fabric capes, I'm sorry that I said that Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange had better capes, Doom. But this is another immense piece. It has a weight to it. The texture and fabric are a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
And the artists have done an amazing job here matching the sculpt to the cape fabric.
Yeah, they're almost completely indistinguishable.
Yes, so his tunic itself is sculpted, and on the portrait, the hood is sculpted. So to keep that shadow on the classic kind of Doom mask, they have sculpted that, but the cape is wired for posing and has just a really nice kind of, I love the pleats at the shoulders to really capture the drape there. And I believe we are looking at his modern mask, has slightly more contour to it.
Has a lot of personality to it.
Yes, but there will be an exclusive edition to this piece that has the classic portrait, kind of it's got the more singular brow, fewer pieces to it, almost more akin to what we see on the base here.
Yeah, and I love this base.
Yeah, it's simple and effective. It is kind of a cobbled stone, it's a faux stonework, and then of course we've got effigies of Doom's mask all throughout there. Again, in case you forgot who runs Latveria. And then those beautiful armor pieces with the rivets throughout. I mean, they didn't skimp on making it look like this was his cobbled together armor with those rivets and the different pieces of the armor that are layered in over his body.
I like that you mentioned earlier that it felt like we were at a Doom rally because of the flag going on behind him, but also this podium just adds to that, and his pose. It feels like there's a crowd just beneath him and he's standing above everyone.
You know, because he does take care of his Latvian subjects. I know he's had clashes internationally with the Fantastic Four, even the X-Men, a little bit of contention there, but he defies anyone to challenge him. I mean, look at this guy. Even cameraman Sam is kneeling down before the might of Doom to help get a better angle. Yeah, exactly. That's how you feel in the presence of this thing. So this will be available for pre-order very soon. You're going to want to go to side.show/ I believe that is Con Dr. Doom Mac. Did I get that right? Con Dr. Doom Mac? Yeah! You guys can see it on the screen right now, so you guys can type that in, RSVP to be notified, because you're going to want to get that exclusive edition with the classic mask, again, that also has the hooded sculpted portrait, the sculpted hood to the portrait, so you don't have to worry about that. Just, again, a beautiful piece, multiple display options. So now we're going to head across the multiverse into the Hot Toys pieces. Let me back up gently. Because we were so excited by the response, and you guys were so stoked to see some pieces from the Disney Plus streaming series by Marvel Studios. Of course, we have WandaVision, and then we've got some Falcon and Winter Soldier pieces to show you guys. But we wanted to take a closer look at these guys. Once again, let's start up with the Scarlet Witch, since it is her day today. She's on the banner. This is the Scarlet Witch, and I love that they identified, I guess, maybe it's that Marvel synergy of knowing where they're going, but the fact that they identified they hadn't called her the Scarlet Witch proper in the movies, and so they made an event out of this becoming her title.
Yes.
And now the Scarlet Witch has an entirely new lore to it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, really unique, and so we get to see Wanda here captured by Hot Toys with all of their incredible tailoring and costuming detail in her kind of most ultimate form, which we've only just seen the beginning of now. And
Yeah.
we're going to get to
We're at
see
the
again.
precipice of more of it, which is so exciting.
This is the Nexus event. She is the Nexus being who is consistent across realities. And the only thing that is consistent is chaos, because this is chaos magic. You guys are seeing her with two of her chaos magic effect hands. And she has a fully tailored costume recreating that stunning look. Her portrait has that kind of beautiful volumized hair that she's got with that unique rendition of her kind of crown. Not a full face plate as it was in the comics, but kind of a more modern version.
Yeah, more of an
Almost-
accessory.
It reminds me of the Kevin Wanda designs for the
Yes.
2015 comics. Just a beautiful piece. She will also include swap out hands, and she has a Darkhold book, so you can pose her with that book we see
so
at the end of
cool.
the series. She's got the beautiful fabric capes going on, and then she has her specially designed figure stand with her own symbol, the WandaVision series logo, the nameplate for the Scarlet Witch, and behind her, I know it's kind of covered up by her cape, but she does have that dynamic figure stand, which I love oh so dearly. Hot Toys provides these for pieces that have the ability to jump or fly, or they've
Yeah,
got
I have one for my
jetpacks.
Captain Marvel piece.
Yes, and they are so fun and unique. They balance. They're sturdy. They're not flimsy, though they are flexible, and they balance really well, so you can get characters. All right, and then we've got Alan here adjusting again that pedestal source podium with those inbuilt lights. You guys can see the color shaders going on right now. Really catching. The piece catches the light so well, and we've got, it almost looks like she's casting a spell now. This is in that eye of that storm with Agatha, maybe. So again, if you're interested in the pedestal source pieces, go to side.show/pedestal source. You use code SideshowCon 2021 for 10% off a new purchase. You'll see that under all of these Hot Toys pieces, but that is just such a fun and unique way to highlight all of the beautiful work that Hot Toys has done on this incredible piece.
Yeah, especially because like once you cut those overhead lights, you have so much sculpting on her face that those underhead lights really bring out all of those tiny details that like are very noticeable anytime you're near its proximity, but like pop all the more when it's coming from underneath. And we kind of saw this in the earlier Scarlet Witch, and I love it now that's just been kind of consistent, is that her magic feels like an extension of her every time you see an iteration of her.
Yes, and Hot Toys has done a fabulous job with those hand sculpts, recreating that unique motion, the way that her fingers almost move individually, like each one of them is tugging on a string as she warps reality. Now, this is available for pre-order on our website right now. You can also see examples, I believe, in the online gallery of the luminous reflective effect in her eyes. She does have, under a specialized light, her eyes do have a bit of a red tint to them.
That's so cool.
But as we saw here, you can also kind of achieve that with your pedestal source display. Now, up next, let's go to Vision. Let's go to the one that she loves. And now, there's a very unique thing here with these figure bases. You can see she had the Scarlet Witch. Now, Vision down here, his says Vision. It's more of a familiar Viz, like that's the one she loves. Up top, we do have the Vision, which is a bit more definitive. This is the body. This is the Vision. But it's not as familiar. It's not as loving. So let's start with Viz down front, the fully colorized version. This is the version that she created within the Hex to help her cope with her grief. He has an amazing detailed portrait, and the costume that really complements that to capture those kind of unique lines and the mechanical and synthetic. I know in the comics, he's a synthezoid. I don't think we ever got that word in the series, but the creature and creation that is the Vision. He's also, you guys can see, he's got abs, he's got musculature beneath this, the fabric costume.
It adds some organic elements to it.
Yeah, and it also has kind of a dye-sublimated texture, it's got raised elements, very subtle, but they're glossier than the actual fabric of the suit, so you do get some of that kind of shine, and again, that technological style that he has. And I love the subtle color gradients in the costume. We also see the Mind Stone, and we've got that unique fabric cape again that also incorporates some of those shapes, the synthezoid shapes that
We've
he's
seen a
known for.
lot of beautiful capes today.
Seriously?
This might be my favorite one.
And it does have wire for posing. Again, another one of those great considerations. I feel like we should have worn capes. We didn't get the memo. But that's okay. Again, also with that dynamic figure stand, and he specifically has his kind of Mind Stone shape on the base as well, his kind of signature logo. Also available for pre-order right now, and he does come with a Hex-themed backdrop for those of us who can't warp reality in their homes. But up top, we do have the Vision. This is the white version of the character, technically the body, the reclaimed version that Sword was kind of recreating. And he himself has a different shape to what is not the Mind Stone, but that kind of power core up top. He's got unique eyes as well, because we got to see how his eyes changed when he was given the memories of the Vision before he kind of re-identified as the Vision, I guess. Had that dynamic figure stand as well. And again, he has the textures throughout his costume. He'll have an energy beam kind of accessory that you can put onto his head as well. And just a really, really unique addition to your collection. And you can get both Visions, have them fighting, facing off.
That's so cool.
That WandaVision collection, they did such a great job with that. And to have it so close after the series came out, I mean, fans, I'm sure, are so eager for these pieces. But speaking of another series that we have a wonderful trio of figures from, we've got the Falcon and Winter Soldier, again by Hot Toys. So awesome.
Wow.
Sam and Bucky are characters, again, we've seen them before from Hot Toys, but never quite like this. If you don't mind, I'd love to start with Captain America.
I was going to ask because those wings are mind-blowingly good.
Yes, they have degrees of articulation to them as well. Just really, really cool. So you guys can see we have him posed here with the wings kind of almost wrapped defensively around him or kind of mid-flight taking off. I love that he can use them as weaponry as well in addition to the shield. And he has a dynamic figure stand. There's also a dynamic attachment for his red wing drone, excuse me. So you guys can pose that airborne as well.
I love that. And I also love that right on the base, we have the title.
We have the title, there's the series logo, and that is Captain America, again, with the name significance. I think that's going to be something we're seeing in the upcoming phase of the MCU as different titles pass around the characters. It's important what we have labeled on these pieces. This is Captain America. Yes. It was one of my favorite things in the series, watching the subtitles change from Sam Wilson to Captain America. And
Such an extra great touch.
Yeah, and I love this costume so much. I mean, not only is it the uniquely kind of Wakandan sculpted version of his suit and the Captain America suit, but this from the comics was really the era I started getting really big into Marvel. So he is kind of the Captain America of my era of the Avengers.
Love that.
So it's really cool to see that now hitting the silver screen. And then we've got the Winter Soldier. We've got someone who's on a quest for redemption who has also, been assisted and changed by the Wakandans. We see that Wakandan version of his arm. No word from Hot Toys on whether or not it can be deactivated and dropped off like it was in the episode, but it's probably there for good to really accentuate your posing. Just a really cool representation of the character. Love the close cropped haircut as we saw in the series.
Yeah, and like the little details like his jawline and his brow really bring him to life. But I also love those gold pops of color in his arm as it shows like underneath the arm under those points of articulation where it really does look like just layered metal over layered metal.
And even the lines in his arm have a little bit more of a softness to them instead of the hard technological, like almost shell-like armor of the Russian version of his arm.
Yeah.
And I love those pops of gold, as you mentioned. It kind of reminds me of like Kintsugi, the like repairing things
It does.
with gold. And we got to see that also in the Loki series where the timeline, the place at the end of time, had all that kind of gold filling in the cracks. So we've got a really interesting kind of phase of the MCU coming up where we get to see things that are familiar and but different in so many ways. And he also comes with a number of accessories and swap out hands. He's available for pre-order on our website right now. And then the last piece of this trio, of course, is the brand new reveal. We've got Baron Zemo posed here in a really nice, very regal pose. Again, we got to see a lot more of him, and fans were really interested if we were ever going to get to see Zemo become the kind of character he's recognized as in the comics. And first of all, we've got that iconic hooded portrait now. And then we got to see him be a little bit more affluent and savvy on the streets and going to Madripoor. A lot more of that character depth that fans were hoping for and hoping to see more of him in the future of the MCU. Now, this costume is just... I
so
mean,
tailored.
He doesn't have a fancy cape, but that trench coat, that jacket, that faux fur collar is just
the purple lapel.
So sleek. And of course, he does have kind of an interior almost purplish lining. It's a very dark color, but inside of the jacket, we've got the purple lining. He does have a gun here as an accessory, but this is a brand new reveal, so we don't have the full loadout of what he may or may not come with, but I can tell you with certainty, he's a highly articulated piece with a beautifully tailored costume, and yes, you probably can pose him in that dance scene.
Yay!
From Madripoor.
I was gonna ask.
I mean, he's articulated, so might as well try. I can't wait to see the toy photography that comes out of this. Hot Toys pieces, again, we talked about this earlier in the week on a different tour. They're so great for posing, taking a photo, and then swapping out the pieces, getting another angle, really just kind of changing up the look in your collection. So that one is a brand new reveal for the show. You can go to side.show/conzemo to get a little bit more information about him and RSVP when he goes up for pre-order. Now we're gonna go back to Captain America really quick, just kind of switch things up here, give you guys another look at it.
There's so much detail to take in. I feel like we need a second look.
Yes, again, brand new prototype reveal. We apologize because the video quality did get a little bit lost here, so we do want to make sure you guys get to see all of those things that we talked about, like the scales on the suit, of course, those little stitching details, if you guys can see in the portrait. Because again, there's other versions of his helmet that are a lot sleeker. It is like a full dome, but this
feels more like an armor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this has, especially in the most recent Captain America PF, where he's kind of in that contrapposto with the Ultron head. That is a more tactical, modern version of his armor. Equally beautiful. That one was sculpted by Daniel Bell. But this one has like the puckered fabric. If you can see, like just above his eye, you see like the little. That is all sculpted.
Furrowing his brow.
Yeah, as he leads the charge, you can imagine the people who are coming into battle behind him as he leads them valiantly. He's even got the kind of mud and worn look on his boots as he tramps through the mud over the destroyed Hydra tank as those little bullets ricochet throughout the base and off of his shield, which already has seen some action and damage. Just a really great return to classic Cap form. And we wanted to make sure that you guys had a chance to see that. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up for the morning tour, covered the entire Marvel universe. I think at this point, actually, it's a multiverse. If we've got multiple Scarlet Witches and multiple Wolverines, I think it qualifies as a multiverse. But this has been so much fun. This was only the first tour of the day, too. You're gonna see me and Vanessa in the art gallery a little bit later, and then at 2 p.m. Pacific for the next booth tour, where we're going to cover the horror pieces. We've got video game pieces, but there's a lot to go before that. We've got live from Sideshow Con coming up. We're going to have an interview with sculptor Daniel Bell, who worked on the Doctor Doom piece. We'll also have Ian McDonald talking about the new How to Train Your Dragon pieces, which you will get to see in our next tour. That'll be at 1 p.m. Pacific. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned, stay on our social media channels, check out when those go live, because we have so much going on. Thank you, Sam, so much for, thank you, Sam, so much for getting all of those incredible complex angles. You are working so hard. You guys need to see you've seen the sculpted muscles on some of these characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam's got the real, like, carrying that camera rig around for you guys all day as we're walking and talking and doing the fun stuff. But there's just so much going on today from the show. So don't forget, live from Sideshow Con, we'll be back. Oh.
Now we get to thank you in person.
There he
Everybody
is, Cameraman Sam. He's real. He's more than just hands. Thank you, Sam, so much. I mean, guys, because Sam has been here for every single one of the tours I've been on, plus the ones that Paul's been on with Guy doing the booth request tours. He is here, the one making the camera movements work for you guys.
A hero amongst heroes.
He is your eyes and ears. He's directing the show for you guys, so you guys can get a look at all these pieces like Galactus, and when we want to zoom out for scale and stuff. So guys, seriously, I mean, it takes a village to put on these shows. You guys get to see only maybe 1/3 or even half of the crazies that go on in front of the camera, but there's plenty of crazies on behind the camera making them work as well. Again, only day 5. We're only just getting started here. We're a little bit more than halfway done with the convention as a whole, but we've still got so much to show you, even new stuff from today, plus some returning favorites. We'll see those Star Wars. But again, live from Sideshow Con, check that out. We'll be back in the art gallery a little later. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, don't forget to let your geek side show.